Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 36th episode of the Zicast. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Zix, and today I'm joined by producer Joe Flynn.
Hey, how's it going?
I'd like to shout out Liam Chen for TDing once again. So, Joe, you know about the Zicast.
Of course.
You know what we do here, and I'm really excited to get into things and talk to you. So, how about you tell us a bit about yourself?
I'm Joe Flynn. I'm a film, television, media major, and I'm minoring in journalism and history. I'm a big Philly sports guy. I just like creating content, whether that just be like live content or pre-recorded content. I'm the executive producer for #that, the pop culture news show for the Q30, which is the television station for Quinnipiac, and yeah, that's really about it.
Awesome. It's great that you explain like Q30 and things. I always forget to do that
Yeah.
on here for people that aren't at Quinnipiac and don't know those things. But you're also from Delaware,
Yeah.
and most of the people I have on here are from like the East Coast, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, etc. So I'm really interested in asking you like what it's like being from Delaware, and then like where your passion for Philly sports comes from.
So I'll just be honest right off the bat. It's nothing crazy. It's it's a pretty small state. It's like the second smallest, I think. It's pretty average. There's no sales tax, which is pretty cool. So like when I was a kid, I'd go to like a store. I wanted like a PlayStation gift card for something like V-Bucks or something like that. And I would only pay like $20 instead of having to pay like $21 or like whatever. So when I came to Connecticut for school, I was like, oh, things are a little more expensive now. All right. But other than that, like it's a fairly normal state. There's some cool beaches kind of down south. Yeah, it's a fun state.
Yeah. Didn't you meet Joe Biden once?
I did. I did. And it was like 2016. It was actually 4th of July. It was like a parade kind of going around. I was like chilling on the sides, and he's just like walking by. I shook his hand. You know, he did like the Joe Biden smile. Like, what's up, man? And yeah, that was a cool experience. Another thing though, I had another encounter with Joe Biden in like 8th grade. I didn't actually see him though. So I ran cross country, and so at the end of a race, you kind of go back to like this certain stand to grab like water bottles and like pretzels, all that sort of stuff. So no, I finished a race, and I'm like, all right, you know, I kind of want some pretzels right now. You know, that'd be nice. So for context, Joe Biden's daughter is like a grade below me, so she was also running cross country that day, and I was like walking towards the pretzel stand, and just a bunch of like black SUVs just start like barreling in. I'm like, okay, I guess I can't get my pretzel right now. But that was my only other encounter with Biden. But yeah,
Wow.
cool guy. Even though I said like one word to him.
Yeah, if you had a nickel for every time you saw
Yeah.
Joe Biden, you'd have two nickels.
2 nickels, which is strange because it's happened twice now.
Yeah, and also like the other part of that question was the Philly sports. Like where did that come from?
So in Delaware, it's kind of like a split. Like with Baltimore and Philly, it's a lot more Philly though. Unless I guess you go like further south, then there's more like Baltimore or Washington. I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest sports guy for a long time. You know, like the sports ball kind of vibe where it's just like, oh, I don't care, woohoo. I was kind of like that. Even like about up to the Super Bowl, I started getting into sports a little more. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. They won a Super Bowl. That's awesome. But the main moment where I like really got into Philly sports was like right before coming to Quinnipiac. It was is around July. I went to a Phillies game with my family, and it was the bottom of the ninth. Phillies were down by 2 runs, and Andrew McCutchen came up to bat, and he hits a walk-off home run. And afterwards, I was like, that was really cool. And then once I got to Quinnipiac, I was in a dorm where there was like a sports community. So the people there were already into sports, and I was like, okay, I guess I gotta kind of get more into Philly sports right now. And then since that, I'm a big Phillies fan. The Phillies are my favorite team by far. And just because of that, it's like I got really into it. And they went on like the World Series run the next year. They had the disappointing playoff run last year, and then they're looking to make a playoff run this year, so that'll be really cool.
Sick, yeah, because I knew the Phillies were your main team, really, and I know the Eagles as well. Do you root for the Flyers?
I'm not a big hockey guy, which is ironic because Quinnipiac's like a big hockey school. But yeah, and any sport, if it's a Philly team, I'm gonna root for them because it's Philadelphia, and also it's a great city. I've been there a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, so iconic. Like, do you have any favorite like Philly players?
Yeah, so I did like pay attention to the Phillies a little bit. Like I knew the general players back when in like 2008 when they won the World Series up to like 2011 when they had like their like highest winning season. Um, so like some of my favorite players like Chase Utley, one of the best second basemen in Phillies history, Ryan Howard.
Hmm.
But currently, I'm a big Bryce Harper fan because he's Bryce Harper. He's like the face of the city. I really like Trey Turner. He's been doing really good this year, especially compared to last year. He was okay, even though we paid him like $300 million. But yeah, like just the Phillies are really cool. I don't know what else to say about them. They're just a really cool team.
That's sick. That's sick. And we're talking about sports, but
Yeah.
your main interest is film.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you, like, what drew you to wanting to study film?
I've known for a while that I wanted to study film. Like I kind of knew, I'd say around like 10-ish. So the main thing was there was, like an iMovie, like you can make those trailers or whatever. I would make skits with my friends with like those pre-made trailer things. So that really got me into it. And then I also had a cousin that, my cousin Patrick, he is in like the film industry, or he was in the film industry. Now he's doing more like playwriting stuff. And he's actually doing a short film right now, I believe. I wish I remembered the name of it, but he's starting one right now. And he kind of really got me into filmmaking. He's kind of like talked about it a lot. And because of him, I kind of was like, this is actually a career I can pursue. So I'm going to do that. And there was one project in particular I remember in 7th grade where we had to do like a science project for talking about a disease of some kind. And me and a friend of mine, we decided we were going to do like a news report for, I think it was Ebola, because that was like the big disease at the time. And we did like a news report that was really fun to make. And the teacher loved it. So it was like, I just like making content. And also like obviously YouTubers were like, are still big now, but they're even like just as big back then. So just seeing people make content, I was like, I kind of want to just do that. I want to create things. So that's how I kind of got into making film content and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I've had a lot of film students on here, obviously, and a lot of them started with like iMovie, like making things on there and kind of starting small in that way. And it's interesting you talk about like the comedy sketches and the news stuff. That's a lot like Q30.
Yeah.
Like Quinnipiac Tonight, and then it's like newscast, and of course that's where you ended up. But I know you've done a lot of work. Like I watched your short film A Ripple.
Right.
If you want to talk a bit about that.
Yeah. So my friends back home, Matt, Jack, and Ben, we talked in the summer of 2023. We originally made like a skit earlier that summer just for fun. And then Matt and Jack talked about the idea of making a short film kind of just about ourselves and like our friendship, because we've known each other since, I've known Matt since pre-K, and I've known Jack and Ben since like 2nd, 3rd grade. So we decided to just kind of make a short film about ourselves, and it came out phenomenally. It was so fun to make. Just kind of seeing everything come together, it was magical. Just especially during the editing process, it's kind of like my forte. Just being in that, we were in Jack's room just kind of editing and seeing everything come together, especially that montage that took not as long as we expected, but as it came along, we were just like, we're making something like really cool. And then we published it actually almost a year ago, or more than a year ago now. And when we uploaded it, we were like, okay, we're going to get a few thousand views. That's fine. Or we weren't even thinking 1,000 views, thinking a few hundred. Then we get our first 1,000, and we're like, oh, that's really cool. And now it's at 56,000 views, which I would have never imagined ever. And seeing the comments from a lot of people in like their mid 40s talking about how the film was nostalgic for them. It was really cool to see like people connect with it when it was just a story about ourselves. It was really inspiring.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing because I was blown away when I watched it because it's so relatable.
Yeah.
The kind of young friend group you have, like it really feels like you said nostalgic. The film, it's like collecting memories in such a very meditative way that it's a very quiet film, and then just so many stunning images. Like, how do you really think it blew up in the way that it did?
I think it was really just timing, and it hit the algorithm in the right way, because the YouTube algorithm can be really interesting, because sometimes you'll publish something and it'll get no views, and then like I published a video about walking through, or no, it wasn't the walking in the woods video, it was a climbing video, and I uploaded it and it got like 2,000 views randomly. How? I didn't understand what I did differently, but it just worked. So you kind of have to like take a guess on where your video is going to end up in the algorithm, and we found our niche through just people who were nostalgic about their childhood, and it worked and took off on YouTube.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how confusing YouTube can be because of through this, and of course like my internship beforehand, like we use YouTube. My job now we use YouTube,
Right.
and a lot of times we're just like, let's just see what works.
Right.
So it's fascinating because I'm watching this film, this very like artistic driven film, and I see so many views. I'm like, it's insane because like you would think, like you said, something like this would just kind of get lost in the fold, but for your guys' work to be able to be recognized in that way is incredible. And then kind of like you said, just the way it registered with people, like it just hit the right audience,
Right.
and it was like a perfect storm. And I know a lot of people whose work's been recognized by like filmmakers or studios from doing things on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's even more of a perk of putting it out there. And yeah, if you want to plug it, I know it's on your friend's YouTube.
Yeah, it's on my friend. The channel's Matthew Decker's. It's called A Ripple, and yeah, you can find it there. We're working on another film, hopefully releasing in the winter sometime. I won't give too many details, but we're working on it soon. So yeah, hopefully it'll turn out just like A Ripple. But we're trying something different. Again, I won't reveal too much, but we're excited for it.
I'm hyped. I will be seated, and I like you spoke right to the camera.
Yeah.
Not wrote to the camera, right to the camera. I was trying to log it on Letterboxd,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Letterboxd was not letting me log it.
Really?
That was disappointing. It was like an error in the server. They're trying to hide the film. They're trying to hide the
It's too good.
It's too good. They're trying to hide the Flynnception.
Yeah. I mean, what can I say? It's just a ripple.
It is a ripple in the system.
The fact we were able to get it on Letterboxd was kind of cool. It's surprisingly easy to upload a film. You just kind of like fill out a few like tidbits about the movie, who's like produced it, the cast, yada yada. You just upload it, and you can also like add multiple posters, which is really cool because we made a few. The funny thing is like none of us really pay for Letterboxd, so it's our own film, but we can't like change the poster on our Letterboxd like profile, which is like we made it. We should have the ability to do that, but.
Yeah, and what exactly was your role in the film? Because of course you acted in it, but I know you did some other things.
Yeah, I was also so me and Jack were more interested in like the technical side of film. So he was mainly the cinematographer, and I helped with that. And then I was mainly the editor, and he helped with that. Honestly, like everyone had a part in the film of doing anything. So we obviously all acted. We had ideas with different shots and that sort of thing, and it was just really cool making it because it wasn't just, we didn't really have set roles. I mean, Matt was directing, and that was really the main thing is Matt directed, and then Matt and Jack wrote it. And then Ben and I just kind of hopped on board, and just seeing it all come together was really cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about what we're gonna make next. I'm like, it's gonna be so sick.
I know. You guys have a really, really talented bunch there.
Yeah.
Of course, acting it, you had the Ryan Gosling and Stay haircut.
Yeah, that's why I had long hair. Yep.
Yeah, so it's interesting looking back on that, knowing you now, because of course I've only known you for the past year.
Yeah, and you didn't meet me when I had long hair, which is really funny. Yeah.
That era of Joe Flynn.
Yeah.
Of course, I know your proficiency behind the camera too, because when we first met, you were helping me in my Quinnipiac Tonight shoots. Remember, we'd go around, you do my crash zooms for me.
Yeah, that was a
and
fun stuff.
you do graphics too. Like you're so multi-talented in a lot of ways. I'd like to kind of ask you more about that, like what led you to Q30, and really how you like kind of speed ran the org in like a way that like I've not seen from anyone else. Yeah.
So in high school, in my junior and senior year, there was a club called WSAL. For context, the school I went to was Salesianum, and WSAL was the radio station for the school. And the radio station was kind of retired. It wasn't really being used anymore. And then a friend of mine had the idea of reviving it into a live streaming kind of group. So we were going to live stream the basketball games and do that sort of thing. So I made some graphics for that. I learned how to really use a camera with that. So when that started becoming a thing, I just really enjoyed that, which initially drew me to Q30 during my freshman year. And I did more of the sports side. So I was kind of just helping with Bobcat Breakdown and Sports Pause, which are like the sports shows of the station. And I didn't really do too much with that. But sophomore year, I did beat reporting for women's rugby, which was really fun. It was really fun to do. But after that, I decided to like step back from Q30. I wasn't too interested. I'll be honest, I was in like kind of a slump then. So I didn't really want to be involved with Q30 for a bit. And then during second semester junior year, I was like, okay, I got to do something. Like, I only get college once. I got to do something. And I was just trying to figure out how to get involved again. And then one day, I'm at the shuttle stop after a class, and I'm like, okay, how do I really get involved? I need to like talk to someone. And then Michael Katz-Flynn comes walking by, and we strike up a conversation. Also, for context, the class I just had, he was just assigned to my group to be an actor for my directing class. So I already talked to him a little bit, and I helped with the project sophomore year for his single camera class. So I already had some form of connection with him, but I didn't really know him too well. Then at that shuttle stop, we started talking for a bit. I mentioned like, hey, I kind of want to get involved with Q30 again, like Quinnipiac Tonight and that sort of thing. And they said like, oh yeah, I can get you in contact with the right people. And also you should hop on hashtag. It's a pop culture news show. I'm like, all right, sure. And then I got introduced to everyone. I got involved with the org, and the rest is kind of history. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that iconic story of you meeting MKF, because that's interesting because he joined Q30 the same way because he met Mick Hanley at a shuttle stop when he was transferring in, and Mick Hanley told him about Q30 because they were on the way to the gym.
The funny thing about that is the meeting almost didn't happen because the only reason MKF went to the shuttle stop, we call him MKF, even though his full name is Michael Katz-Flynn.
Yes.
MKF is just his nickname. He forgot his gym shorts.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not going to work out in jeans. I'm just going to go back to York Hill and take the shuttle. So if he remembered his gym shorts, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it's truly a ripple in the timeline that happening.
You did Bad Friends.
I did a Bad Friends. It's almost
funny.
like a ripple.
Man, I just got to figure out how to use a ripple in like just different bits now.
Yeah, especially if this helps it at all for everyone we know to know about it, because you use a ripple.
We're getting to 100,000 views now.
Yes. And yeah, like MKF, he's a recruiting god. Like, the entire hashtag like producing staff is like recruited by him basically, to my knowledge. Yeah,
we well, first of all, the way I became an executive producer was kind of interesting. I was like interested in becoming a producer for either Quinnipiac Tonight or hashtag. I wasn't sure about executive producer because I was like, I know that's a lot of responsibility. I just kind of came back to the organization. So I did some like applications and that sort of thing. And then JJ Tafudo, who's the production the production manager for entertainment.
He's the entertainment director.
Entertainment director. Sorry, JJ. He said, hey, Joe, can I talk to you for a second? He pulled me to his side, and he just kind of like looked at me and said, I really think you should apply for hashtag that executive producer. I was like, okay. And then I got the position, and then it's 3 shows in now, and it's fantastic. I really love it. And the way we got everyone else, we just kind of like talked to other people that we knew that were in hashtag. Liam,
yes,
the GOAT.
Yeah.
Aaron, also the GOAT, and Sam, also the GOAT. Yeah, and then once they got involved, it's like we have a squad now, and it's really cool kind of creating hashtag with them.
Hashtag always a fun environment.
Yeah.
Always a cool place to be. And that's why I also like to ask you, like, what made you want to be the EP of it, even though we've sort of gotten into that a little bit?
Yeah, it's when I rejoined Q30, I didn't really know much about a hashtag, and when I got in, it was just like pop culture news. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in pop culture. That's cool. And just like creating like segments about, or we call them packages, creating segments about just movie reviews or anything like that. I was like, that's really cool. I get to edit more. I get to do graphics. Like, that's kind of sick. And it just kind of like stuck out to me because it was like, I like this environment. Thank you, Liz and Alex.
Yeah.
They kind of just welcomed me in when I kind of stepped away from Q30 for a bit, they welcomed me back in like I hadn't left. I was like, this is awesome. I kind of want to stick around now. So, yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and to be an EP after you were in the org for 1 semester.
Yeah.
So that's
quite a step up.
Yeah, it is quite a step up, and very, very earned. Like that is just an incredible thing.
Yeah.
And you and MKF are really, and of course the whole staff is furthering those good vibes there.
Yeah, honestly, like the whole, like you, everyone at Quinnipiac tonight, everyone at Hashtag, like the fact that you guys just welcomed me in so quickly, that's like the main reason I'm kind of being like I'm an executive producer, because it just felt like a family. So I didn't really try entertainment for a bit, and this isn't a knock on sports or newscast or anything like that, because they're great as well, and their environments are fantastic. But it's just it was something different about the entertainment group. I was like, I just like this. This is my vibe, and I was able to kind of just do what I wanted to do with graphics or editing, and it just worked.
Yeah, I feel the exact same. That Q30 is super welcoming, because I came in as a junior transfer, which should have been like awkward because I'm like a first year, but so much older, and then everyone welcomed me and gave me so many incredible opportunities, and now I do the Zicast.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's successful, dude. You won. What award did you win again?
I won the best podcast award at the Golden Mike Awards here at Quinnipiac.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Which
dude.
is Quinnipiac's podcasting Oscars basically, and that was a really special thing. But I was a junior then, and I'm a senior now, and you're also a senior.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you your thoughts on being a senior.
When I was dropped off, my parents told me it was going to fly by. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just going to try and enjoy it. And it's September 18th as of recording, whenever this releases. It's flown by.
Yeah.
It has flown by so fast. No matter how much you try to be like, all right, I'm just going to be in the present, and I'm going to try and make every moment like matter, it still flies by. And it's a little scary, I'll be honest, because after this, it's the real world, unless we go to grad school. But I'm excited for the rest of the year, because this is also when you make the capstone project for film majors. That seems really exciting. I like my group a lot. I'm going to be the production designer for that, so I get to do a lot more like set design, costume design, kind of stuff, which I kind of in the back of my mind have really wanted to do, because for a while I was more into like post-production with editing, graphics, all that. And I was like, I kind of want to be on set more. Like I do like being behind the camera, but I also want to kind of create the environment for a movie. So I kind of get to help with that now. So that'll be really exciting. Yeah,
that sounds like a fun new challenge for you.
Yeah.
And whose group are you in?
So I'm with JJ Tafudo, Aaron Epstein. I'm with Sean Volukovic, Jack Gatta, Zuzana. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name. And Alex Bean. It's a really great group. Alex wrote the script, and it's phenomenal. I can't talk about it, but it's phenomenal. But yeah, I'm really excited for it.
That does sound. You have an incredible group. Some people who've been on here or will be on here.
Right.
As I'll say, and like being a senior, it is an interesting time. I know Liam. We talked about this as well when you were on here. There's a lot of uncertainties. Yeah. But I'm really in the same boat of just trying to make the most of this year. Yeah. As you could tell by the million things I'm doing and trying to do. Yeah. And I have so many things up in the air. Like I don't know if I'll do grad school. I don't know where I'll be, but it's gonna be a fun ride. So now moving onwards, I'd like to ask you, what are some things people may not know about you?
I'm a big nature guy. I feel like some people know that already, but I'm really into like camping and hiking, just kind of being out in nature. It's nice being outside. I did Boy Scouts as a kid, so that kind of really influenced it. Did a lot of backpacking, did a lot of camping. I haven't done it as much recently, but a few years ago I went to Acadia National Park, and that was awesome. Just kind of being outdoors, it's nice. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just nice.
I'm picturing you now in the Boy Scout uniform.
Yeah. On my honor. I'll do my best.
On your honor, yeah. Yeah. That makes sense, too, with a ripple.
We all did Boy Scouts, except for Ben.
Call out Ben.
He did it for a year. It wasn't his thing, but that's fine. But yeah, we did Boy Scouts, so that's kind of where like the nature-y thing kind of became a thing. There's even a bit inside the movie where so Matt and Jack became Eagle Scouts. I didn't, and then Ben wasn't really in Scouts, so they bragged about being Eagle Scouts, and we kind of just dapped each other up. We intended for that. We were like, how are we gonna insert Boy Scouts in this? We were like, this is funny, so we went with that.
Yeah. What exactly is an Eagle Scout?
That's basically the highest rank in any Boy Scout can achieve, except for like the Eagle Palms, but I'm not really too sure what that's about. It's mainly just focused on like community service and that sort of thing. And I did a good amount of community service, just kind of helping other people with their Eagle Scout projects. But I'll be honest, the camping was the main thing for me. But I did enjoy just kind of doing community outreach stuff with Boy Scouts. I feel like that's not really talked about with Boy Scouts. And that was really cool to kind of actually be a part of that and just helping your community.
Yeah, like what things would you do?
Trying to think of a good example. There were food drives. That was one main one. There was one that was there was a Eagle Scout project where we like helped install fire alarms in a community. Like it doesn't seem like an Eagle Scout project, but 100% is. It's like just a basic safety thing, and you're making sure people are safe. So we just went around neighborhoods handing out new fire alarms, checking fire alarms, and that was really cool.
Very very like handiwork.
Yeah.
Too. That seems applicable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you talk about nature. Like, what things do you like in nature?
It's kind of like what environments?
Yeah, or sort of like, I know you said you like camping, so like what exactly do you like about it?
It's just being away from all the technology and stuff, because I'm a big tech guy. I'm really interested in computers and just anything technology, editing, all that. I don't know how many times I'm going to say the word editing, but there's probably going to be a few
or
more.
Or graphics.
Yeah, graphics again. It's just kind of taking a break from everything, and just especially being in like with your friends out on a hiking trip or something like that. It's just nice. You play cards together, you have a campfire going. It's really it's just taking a break from everything, and that's really what helps with once you take a step back. I feel like once you get back into things again, it's like a different perspective, and I feel like work just goes a little more smoothly for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a level of like purity that we kind of need to get away from the brain rot a little bit, because like
I drive
exactly I drive. That's a perfect time to bring up our group chat. So Joe and I are in a group chat with episode 1 guest Jeff Fish and future guest Anthony Icardi, where the joke is that we're the same person.
We all look like Ryan Gosling, as you can see. We all look like Ryan Gosling. We look exactly like him. Really?
We're spitting images of Ryan Gosling.
It's crazy.
And we sent a bunch of La La Land and Drive memes.
I haven't even seen Drive.
I have seen both of them, and we were planning on a watch party at some point for Drive. And maybe this is something we should not be admitting on the internet, on YouTube. However, it's all fun and games. It's just how we bond.
It wasn't even my bit originally. It was just you three. And then when I joined Quinnipiac Tonight, this is also part of me kind of becoming a community. I just kind of said like, I like the I Drive film. I'm going to try and join it. I just said I Drive, and you guys just kind of turned around.
You're like, and it reminds me of how it started, because the three of us are standing there, and we're just like, I Drive, and you just walked in and said, I Drive. Then we pointed at you and said, I Drive, and then we just synced.
Like the entire bit is just us pointing at each other saying,
I Drive.
I Drive. You drive.
We drive.
We drive.
Yes, it is the definition of brain rot.
100%. Yeah.
But sometimes we need a little bit of brain rot in our lives.
100%.
It's a healthy bit of brain rot.
Humor doesn't have to make sense. It really doesn't. If you find something funny, like that's the whole point of an inside joke, is it's just only a small group gets it, and everyone else around you's like, what are you doing? It's like, we find it funny. That's what matters.
That's the great thing about like memes too. Where it's like you see an image and you immediately in your head just understand what it means in context.
It's like people are complaining about like brain rot nowadays, because it does make no sense. But like if you look back at how memes kind of started in like the early 2000s, it also didn't make sense. Like like MLG memes and that's what it's just Doritos and Mountain Dew and just like spinning stuff. Like it makes no sense, but it's funny, or it was funny. I don't think it's funny nowadays, unfortunately. But as a kid, I thought it was funny.
We all grew up, like iFunny or iFunny.
Oh, God.
It's all the worst things.
The worst app to ever exist.
Like, if we looked back on it now, we would not think it was funny. But at the time, it had the whole gang. It had the whole gang giggling.
It was, and I feel like that's, like, just sharing things with like friends and stuff. There's just a bond with that I feel like in any other time period you never get that, because
Yeah.
you can't really have memes in like, you know, the 1900s, 1800s. It's just like you don't have phones obviously, so you can't just have like an inside joke that other people you've never met will immediately understand.
Yeah, like the ancient Roman being fed to a lion didn't
Yeah.
have skibbity toilet. Memes. Like those old memes where it's like, oh, me in heaven explaining my YouTube career to a guy who got fed to a lion in ancient Rome. Like, that's the kind of benefits we have today.
Yeah.
With the things that we have.
Yeah.
So, moving onwards from this interesting topic, I'd like to ask you, what are some of your hopes and dreams professionally or in general?
I'm not too sure. I know the only thing I know for certain is I just want to be in the film industry. That's my main thing. Maybe even like the live kind of aspect of it, with like live sports and that sort of thing. I'm not sure if I want to go into post-production. I don't know if I want to be on set yet. So I'm just kind of like figuring it out, doing as much as I can. And I just know I'm going to be somewhere in the film industry when I'm older, after college and everything. I'm going to be in the film industry. I know it.
I do not doubt that.
Yeah, I do not doubt that you're also you're going to be in the film industry.
Thank
We're
you.
all going to be in the film industry. Let's be honest.
We drive.
We drive.
Yeah. Like, do you have where would you like to live? I'm curious.
Honestly, I've never been to LA, so I can't really give an opinion on that. I've heard Nashville's cool, because it's up and coming with like all the music videos that are happening there, just kind of like the music scene there. So Nashville would be really cool. LA would also be really cool. I'm not too sure about going back to Delaware. I love Delaware with all my heart, but there's really not much in the way of film there, unfortunately. So I'd prefer to stay on like kind of the East Coast. So maybe if New York has something with film, I'd love to go there. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Anywhere is fine, as long as I'm doing film.
Yeah, that's a great plan. Like, one of my goals is to move around as much as I can, which is maybe more of a dream than a goal, because how difficult that could be. But yeah, I think one of the cool things in life is seeing different places, and I feel like knowing your love for things like nature, I feel like you would be someone who might like move around.
I want to go on like a big backpacking trip in Europe. People have talked about it a bunch, and just kind of exploring the area, maybe even going to like Asia as well. Just starting in somewhere, let's say like Portugal, and going like hiking all the way to China. Is that really possible? I don't know, but it would be cool. Just seeing different cultures, getting a different perspective is something I've always wanted to do. And I don't know if I'd want to film it, maybe take pictures, but just kind of getting different perspectives on how people live and that sort of thing would be really interesting.
That'd be an incredible, like, maybe documentary.
Yeah, it's definitely been done before. There's one I've heard of where a guy like walked from, I think he started in India and ended up in France. I could be making that up, but he started basically on one end of the continent and ended up on the other. It's just like that travel experience is just something that kind of really appeals to me.
Yeah, kind of like Forrest Gumping your way through Europe.
That would be cool.
That would be so sick.
Yeah.
Now I have a new goal of my own. I think that would be incredible. Yeah, like you said, seeing people, seeing how they live, and just seeing different environments.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
I also kind of want to like stay off like the kind of tourist trap areas, because it's like that's not really what goes on in a country. That's just like the kind of Americanized version of what goes on. It's kind of like giving people a taste of the experience of what it's like to live in a place by going off the beaten path and kind of like really understanding like how people live and how their differences with you. It's just really interesting. Like, I've heard many stories about like my dad, when he worked for the government, he went to, I forgot what country. I think it was Mexico. I don't remember exactly, but he, the rest of the people in his group went and stayed at a hotel, and then he and another friend went to a local villa, and it was this beautiful, he described it as like this beautiful kind of like little villa place, and it was a lot cheaper than the hotel, and it was just a lot more welcoming. It's like he would have never had that experience if he just kind of like stayed on the tourist trap area. He went off a little bit and found something really beautiful.
Interesting. What kind of work did your dad do?
He worked for customs.
Interesting.
So he kind of did that sort of work. He also worked for like the police department, that sort of thing. Yeah, and he's been basically all over the United States. So he's also done a road trip across the United States. I think he's been to all 48. I'm not too sure. Sorry, Dad. But I feel like at some point that would be really cool to you just not just go across Europe and Asia, but also go across the United States, because it's also kind of like its own. It's not really North America's a continent, but America itself just has so many different like perspectives on life across the country. I kind of want to experience that.
Yeah, I know it's one of my brother's big goals is to go to every state. So your dad hasn't beat as of this moment.
I want to go to every national park. That's my big thing. Is just every national park. I've only been to 2. I've been to Acadia. I've been to I've only been to New River Gorge for a little bit because I did like whitewater rafting there, and it was like, you know, the giant bridge kind of like near Virginia. Just kind of like went through that. I was like, that's cool. But yeah, just like a national parks tour would be ideal, I think.
Anything, I know you said rafting, anything you'd want to like do at one of those parks specifically?
If I find a really good trail, hike it. I don't know. I don't think any national parks have this, but it would be cool if they did. You know, like ziplining courses?
Yeah.
I would want to do one of those there. I feel like that would kind of ruin the whole point of a national park, just kind of being like a part of nature that hasn't been touched by just anything. There's no buildings. It's just nature. Maybe like a few like cabins and that sort of thing. But if there's any like high adventure kind of stuff there, maybe climbing. I've never really gone climbing before, but I'd like to try it. Even though I made a climbing video, but it was like just like climbing, like bouldering. I forgot what the word for it is, but it's just like finding a short kind of like rock formation, just kind of climbing up that and having a pad below you. So you're not like, you don't actually have equipment on or anything like that. Just I want to try actual rock climbing. That would be cool.
Have you rock climbed the wall on Reckwell?
I have. I did it last year once, and it was really cool. I don't know. I wish I went there more often, but it's kind of like a French trampoline. It's like, oh, if I had a trampoline in my house, I'd go there all the time. And it's just like, or I'd use the trampoline all the time. But it's like, you don't really. You go when you really feel like it. But yeah, that reminds me. I just need to go back on the rock wall at some point.
Yeah, I'm glad I could motivate you.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, Joe, since you're into films, what are some of your favorite movies?
All right. That's a tough question. I can think of like the most impactful movies and also some of my favorites. One of the most impactful ones, as a kid, whenever my family went on road trips, my brother and I would watch It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. It's like this old movie from, I think, 1960 something. And it's about a group of people trying to find a suitcase of $300,000, which in the 1960s is like a lot of money, obviously. And it's just kind of like a wacky movie. I don't know if that necessarily inspired me to start creating films like that or to make movies like that, but it's a fun movie that I'll always remember. Another one that immediately comes to mind is Interstellar. I remember seeing that in theaters for the first time, and I thought it was just really cool because like all the space and just kind of like special effects and that sort of thing. But then I saw it again recently, and I paid more attention to like the writing of the film. It's just really touching. It's like just a story about how love can connect two people from however far away. And I never really understood that as a kid, but seeing that now is just really, really something special. Interstellar, It's Mad, Mad World. What else is there? I'm gonna go with another Christopher Nolan one, Oppenheimer. That was just a really fun experience seeing it in the theaters for the first time. Afterwards, when I exited the theater, we did Oppenheimer first for Barbenheimer, my friend group back home. So we just kind of like, we went to a Panera after Oppenheimer, and we were just like, man, that was a movie. And then we went to Barbie, and we were a lot more happier afterwards.
Dinner and then dessert.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes. That's the right way to do it.
It was much better to do Oppenheimer before Barbie. 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other movies that are impactful. I'm a big fan of 1917. As a kid, I was really into World War I, just like that kind of history, mainly because of, the game Battlefield 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite games as a kid. So I was like, World War I's cool. I want to see this movie. And it was all done in like one take. I was like, and also the set design in that movie is phenomenal. So that really had something. I was like, this is a cool movie. So, yeah. Those are my main ones.
Yeah. I remember in a Ripple, there's a copy of Inception in the film.
Which part? I'm trying to think.
One earlier part when the character's collecting some of his things off the table. There's like the college letter, I think is right before it.
Yeah.
There's a copy of Interstellar on the table.
Yeah. I don't even know my own movie. I forgot about that. Making that scene was really cool because we were just kind of experimenting. That just reminds me. We were experimenting with the idea of how to kind of show the packing up process. And we were like, what if we just had a bunch of like pictures on the table to show like the memories and that sort of thing? Because we even featured some of those pictures in the montage of it. And we even cut some of them up as like Matt, who was basically played himself as the main character, was trying to forget those. But he even showed like the actual like the full pictures, and it was like just that sort of stuff was cool.
Yeah. 'Cause that's how the movie feels, like those pictures coming to life.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, there's one shot in the film where it's just us kind of walking towards a tower, which we also used as the fight scene or when we get in an argument. That was a video that Jack made earlier that year, and we were like, we can actually implement this in the movie. That'd be really cool. And it just kind of worked so well because it was that that frame of us walking to the tower, and then it was just in the back of the car as well. And that was just a really cool moment. When we were editing, it's like, that's so sick.
Yeah, you always know it. Yeah, when you're looking and you're editing, like, wow, we got the shot.
Yeah. I feel like the main shots of the film, that was the main one. The sunset one, it was getting so dark because we filmed that in the same area we filmed the argument. And we were like, it's getting so dark out, we can't even film the argument anymore. We have to like kind of figure something out. And we walked over a little bit and we were just like, oh, we can film here. And then we set up the camera, and then Jack did kind of like just his camera magic and all that. And it was so cool to see it in post-production. Like, we did that. It was awesome.
Yeah, we were talking about your favorite movies, and then we got back into a Ripple.
Gotta plug a Ripple. I get sidetracked easily whenever I have to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. You talk about your masterpiece.
Yeah.
And your friends' masterpiece.
Hopefully we try and top it, but it'll be hard to.
I'm excited for the spiritual sequel.
Yeah. Whatever it's called.
I can't
reveal.
Flynnception.
Yes.
And overall, Joe, I just like to thank you for coming on here.
Of course.
It was so much fun. And would you like to add anything before we go?
First, I'd like to thank you for inviting me on. This is awesome. I'm so happy that you're able to do all this and how successful it's become for you. I'd also like to give just thanks to everyone who supported me throughout the years and kept me going. I wouldn't be here without all you guys. There's too many people to mention, so I won't name them all. But you know who you are. Thank you. And shout out my cat Snuggles.
Yeah, the goat.
I
didn't bring up Snuggles. How did I forget to bring up Snuggles? Yeah. Orange cat.
Orange cat, just like an orange cat as you expect. He's funny. He's loud. He meows a lot. He's, as the name implies, he snuggles up a lot. Yeah. Awesome cat. I love him.
Yeah. I'm a fellow cat guy as well. My boy Jack.
Hey.
Yeah, he's 13. He's an old boy, but he's the goat.
Yeah. Cats are awesome.
They really are. Yeah, like Jack's sister's name was Rose at the shelter. That's something I always tell people. And like, yeah, that's great to have something in common that we're cat guys.
Yeah.
Real ones. But on top of that, Joe, it's great to have. Of course, it's been awesome getting close with you.
Yeah.
So close with you over the past year and doing all the things from Q30 to the group chat.
Right.
I'm happy I have someone I can stand in the back of Aunchie's with
and check the weather app.
Check the weather app and be stanced up. Yeah.
Be on the compass app. Like, I'm literally facing north right now, guys. Can you believe that?
Exactly. I'm glad that we kind of synced up in that way, and we could stand in the back and be shy together.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's a real sign of a real one. and I'm so excited for the rest of this year, for the rest of hashtag, and for all the other things we'll end up doing.
Yeah. And I'm stoked.
And of course, thank you again for coming on here.
Of course.
I've been really anticipating the Joe Flynn episode.
I've been anticipating when I was going to come on the podcast, and it's finally happening.
Yeah.
It happened.
It's truly a dream come true.
It's truly I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
It's
I can't.
Truly a ripple. All right. As always, this is Ryan Zayaks with the Zicast, where everyone has a story. Signing off. Thank you so much for watching.